Alright, so the last reading vlog you guys saw said that I was going to start a reading vlog like the next day. I did start a reading vlog the next day, and then today, so that was like Thursday. Today is Sunday, and today I accidentally deleted all the footage that I did because I was trying frantically to do some vlog stuff, and my computer wasn't working and I thought I had to delete all my footage, so I deleted all the footage that I did. But I have a caveat and I have a solution to this problem. So what I'm going to do is, because I do have the next 2 days off from work, so what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to do a 48-hour readathon, and I'm going to start it now at like 10 o'clock. And I'm going to stay up as late as I can every night, and I'm going to try to read. I'm going to get as much reading done as I can, which is what I was going to do anyway, just because I have a lot of time off. I did a bunch of my blog posts today. I did all my filming for a couple of weeks. So I really do have a lot of time tomorrow to read, which is the plan. And I already filmed all my videos, so it's not going to change my TBR or anything really. But yeah, I'm really kind of upset that I lost that footage. Because it was a really nice content about this book, but I'm going to recap what I said right about now, so you didn't really miss all that much. Right now, I after last reading vlog, I did wind up finishing Kingdom of Ash by Sarah J. Maas that I really wound up enjoying. I thought the ending was a super well crafted ending that I really liked. Wasn't my favorite book of the whole series, but it was a book that I really wound up enjoying. I am also listening to Captive by Catherine Oxenberg. It's an audiobook about her daughter's time in NXIVM and how she wound up getting her daughter out of that cult, which I thought was a very, very interesting story. And then the book that I'm currently reading right now, which I am going to hopefully finish tonight, is Serpent and Dove by Shelby Matterhorn. At the time of this recording, I got up to page 400, so I literally have 100 pages left. Guys, I'm absolutely adoring this book. I wish I could have said this again, because I had so many clips where I was just raving about this book. But oh my god, this book might be one of my favorite books of the month, if not of the year. I'm really enjoying it so far. It has a great cast of characters. I love the historical setting. But it basically follows this girl named Louisa. And she is a witch. She's a witch. And in this society, witches are very, very hated. And she winds up she's trying to steal something that she needs. And then she winds up getting roped up with a witch hunter, and to save both their reputations, they have to wind up getting married. And then a lot of stuff happens, and now we're at the tail end of the book. And it's just so well done. I'm loving the side characters in this novel so much. There's this character named Ansel who's like my new cinnamon roll character. I did say this in my other clips, and I'll say it again, but I would preface this by saying this book is definitely a book for higher YA. It does deal with some mature language, and there is some sexy times in this book. Not anything like new adult, but it's just some content that I would warn you if you're a parent and you don't want your kids reading that, or if you just don't like that type of content. It's nothing that I wouldn't read, and I have a pretty I don't like a lot of sexy times in my reads, and I didn't think it was anything that was really terrible. But I'm really liking how these characters, you're really seeing shades of gray in the witchcraft. I'm really loving the world building, and I'm just really enjoying it. There was a lot of mysteries and twists and turns that are being revealed right now, so I just kind of want to dive back in and see what's up. But yeah, I'm really kind of bummed that I missed that footage, but now I get to give you guys a 48-hour reading vlog, which I'm really excited about. So I'm off to read, and when I make about 50 pages more progress, I will definitely come back in and update you guys. But for right now, off I go. Back in, it's 10:53, and I did wind up getting up to page 458 of Serpent and Dove by Shelby Matterhorn. This book is tail at the end, and now it's split into two narratives, and I'm really liking how expanding this world gets and how much background information we're getting about all the characters. There was still one or two plot points that I just want a few more clarification points at. I think I know who everyone is, but a lot of information was dropped in the last 100 pages. But this world is just so well crafted. I'm really loving the world. I'm really loving the pacing of this story. I think it's just so well crafted. And in her author's note, she said you find a lot of shades of gray characters. And I think that that's totally true. No character is pure good. No character is pure evil. All these characters are shades of gray. I'm loving the elements of the church as like a governing body, and I'm just really liking the characters. So I'm definitely gonna finish this book tonight. I have to get up to page like 520, and I think that's definitely doable. But yeah, I'm off to read, and I will definitely give you guys an update when I am done. Here, I just wanted to do a small update. I did wind up finishing Serpent and Dove by Shelby Matterhorn, and for this reading count, I'm going to start at 115. That is the amount of pages that I read in this part of the reading log. Really love this book. I'm still debating if it's a 5-star reader or 4.75 star reader. I think the last like 75 pages or the last 50 pages was really, really rushed. It's definitely a book that I'm going to have to reread the last part of it, especially with the massive cliffhanger that we have, which this book does have a massive cliffhanger. But I am loving the character dynamics. The characters in this book are such a joy to read. I love how they were really put in shades of gray. I love the dual point of views that we got, the male and the female. I really, really liked it. I love the big cast of characters. I'm really curious to see where book 2 goes. Right now I'm saying it's a 4.75 rating. That might change, but right now it was such a strong read. So happy that I wound up reading it. And now I'm going to go choose my next book. I'll see you guys when I decide. Bye. To pick my next read, and it was The Sisters of Shadow and Light by Sarah B. Larson. This is an arc that comes out in November. I actually won this from Torteen a couple of weeks ago. And I heard about this a lot on Alexa Loves Books channel. But it's from the acclaimed author of Defy, a timeless fantastical tale about the bond between sisters and the powerful magic that could tear them apart. This is about a girl that, like, her family is like a paladin, but then like where she lives is like I think it's like a magical hedge appears around their house that kind of traps them inside, and she becomes one of the sisters, like, gets her father's power, and that's all that I really know. I know that it has magic, it has to do with sisters, and I'm sure I'll know a little bit more when I start reading it. But I really want to go into this book kind of blind. But yeah, so I'm going to start reading this. I don't know how late I'm going to stay up, but I would like to stay up later than I normally do. But yeah, hopefully I will make some progress before I go to bed. It is September 30th, the last full official day of September. I also have off today and tomorrow because it's Rosh Hashanah. I plan to get a lot of reading done today. Yesterday, I did wind up finishing Serpent and Dove by Shelby Matterhorn late last night. I really wound up really enjoying this book. It's definitely a book that's, the world is super interesting and super complicated. It's definitely a book that I'm going to have to reread before book 2 comes out because the world was so impressive. I would definitely give this book like 4.75. I thought the ending was a little bit rushed, and there was a lot of information that you got at the ending that was like just a lot. But I really enjoyed it. I love the characters. I love the romance. I love the side characters. I thought the pacing was solid. I would have liked the ending to just be a little bit slower and clarify a few more points. But other than that, it was a super well-crafted read and definitely bumped me out of my reading slump that I was getting into after reading We Hunt the Flame. Now, I told you guys last night, I started reading Sisters of Shadow and Light by Sarah B. Larson. She is the author that wrote the Defy series. And this follows 2 sisters, and they are now trapped in their mansion because of paladin magic. And one of the sisters is a paladin, and the other sister is kind of her protector. I've literally only read about 20 pages of this book, not even 20 pages. It's just the start where the arc started. But so far, I really like the world and like the characters that we're getting. So I'm going to go up to therapy. I'm going to go run to the library, drop off some library books. And when I come back, I'll let you guys know how far I am. I'm really going to try to read a lot today. That's my goal. I don't ever get to do readathons anymore because I'm always working. But I'm going to make this like a 48-hour readathon and read until 10 p.m. tomorrow night and see how much reading I can get done. So I'll talk. And right now I started on page 20 of that arc. So I'll talk to you guys when I come back from my errands. Bye. Wanted to do a small update. I just spent about 20 minutes trying on all my New York City Comic-Con outfits for this upcoming week. I have 3 different looks. I'm going as 2 versions of 11 and 1 version of the Harry Potter's Marauders map because I love that costume so much. I actually get the most compliments on that costume too. But I did want to come in and do a small update for Sisters of Shadow Noise in that clip. I was trying to wait for something to load and then it started to play, so sorry about that. But I did want to see a small update on Sisters of Shadow and Light. I'm now on page 54, and I feel like now I can actually give you guys kind of like a summary of this book. Basically, it follows these two sisters and their mother, and they live in this paladin castle. Their father was a paladin, and the day that the younger sister was born, she became a paladin, which is a type of magic in our society. But when she was born, the mansion set up like a barrier of like twigs and trees, and they can never leave it. The only way that they can leave is when the barrier decides to let someone leave or come in. And then there's her sister has paddle magic, but has a very hard time communicating with other people because she doesn't really know how to speak that well, and there's always a sound of ringing in her ears. And the only way she does have moments of lucidity is using her powers. And she uses her powers very, very few and very, very far between. So her and her sister have a very protector-like relationship, I would say. However, one day, a young gentleman winds up crossing into their castle, and I'm sure it's going to change their world forever. But I'm really liking the dynamics between the sisters. Again, this is another book set, kind of historical fiction-y, I will say, and there's a lot of talk about Zuhadra's life, her path, and what her futures holds. The relationship with the mother and daughter is really, really unique and really, really different. So I hope to tackle out of 50 more pages. My friend says we were going to go out to lunch. I don't know if she's going to show up or when. But until then, I'm going to go read. And I might go for a bike ride. Just depends on what time she's going to come. So I'll talk to you guys in a bit for another update. Bye. Here, I just did a little bit of prep work for school. I sent out a few emails that I had to send out. I did wind up listening to a bunch of Captive by Catherine Oxenberg. I have like 30 minutes left in that audiobook. But I did make a little bit more Sisters of Shadow and Light. I'm so upset I lost one of my Funkos. I'm going to have to look for her after New York City Comic Con. I don't know where she went up to. My Dark Willow is now missing, which is sad. But Sisters of Shadow and Light by Sarah B. Larson. I'm on page 74 of this book, and I definitely like the dynamics between, I'm gonna call her Zoo, and the guy that comes into her town. They're kind of investigating a little bit more about the paladin magic that her sister has, and you definitely do get a little bit more past information about Zoo and her mother and her sister. But yeah, so far I'm really liking it. I'm only 74 pages in, but it's definitely like the print is like really, really small, but it's definitely like a faster paced read. This would be great for like, it's set in like a haunted, like not a haunted, but like in like an old mansion, and like there's very, very secluded. There's like a cast of like 6 characters in the entire story. But yeah, I'm really enjoying it, and I hope to make some more progress on it now. I didn't wind up going to see my friend today. I'm going to see her tomorrow. So my cousin's coming. We have to go run some errands. But I'm going to hope to read a bunch more of this book today. So when I come back from all that stuff, I'll check back in and let you guys know what part of the book I got up to. I'm back. It's 7:33. We did run a couple of more errands than originally planned. So I just got home. I just took a shower. But I did want to making a little bit more progress on Sisters of Shadow and Light. I'm now on page 114. I'm really liking this book. I think that this would be a perfect book to read like in the wintertime. I followed a little bit more. Our cast of characters has expanded a little bit. Normally, I'm not the biggest fan of books that have like 6 characters in it, but I really am liking this book. I'm loving the world. I'm loving how it's a slow reveal of like what we're getting. We have 2 main characters, well, a couple of main characters. But I'm really liking the dynamics between the sisters. I'm liking the new male that has come in and captured this, came into the story. Really, really liking it. So I'm going to read a little bit more. I would love to get up to page 200 by the end of tonight. I don't know if that's doable, but that's my plan of attack. And I'll be sure to update you guys along the way. Again, tomorrow I do have off again. So I'm going to try to read a lot tomorrow. I'm supposed to go out with lunch with my friend. I have to go to my yoga class, but it won't take very long. So I'll update you guys in a little bit when I make a bit more progress. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Hi guys, Lori here. I'm just doing a small update. It's about to be 9 o'clock, and I did read a little bit more of Sisters of Shadow and Light. I'm now on page 138. I am really liking the dynamics between these characters. Again, it's another book that's kind of set in like an historical fiction setting. definitely reminds me somewhat of like the way that Susan Dennard builds her world for Witchlands. Um, but we are like a part of a character that really doesn't know a lot of information. So I'm liking that. And I'm also liking there's like Narnia based elements to this book that I'm also really liking. I'm loving the sister dynamics. Um, and I'm also liking how every character has like a really unique point of view. You have one major point of view character as of right now. I'm hoping we might get other point of view characters as this book goes on. Um, but I'm really liking the relationship between the Zoo and the lead boy in this. What's his name? I think it's um, Holivor, I think. I don't know how you say his name. But their dynamics is really, really nice. I'm liking that he's like also like a scholar as well. I'm just really liking it. There has been like a unexpected twist that's happened, so I really want to get back to reading. But I just wanted to do a small update and say that I am on page like 140. I'm gonna keep reading. I'm gonna read it until I'm too tired to have to go to bed tonight. Again, I don't have to go to work tomorrow, so I'd love to actually make a good deal of progress on this. But I'll definitely update you guys when I get up to page 200. Okay, talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Here, I just wanted to do a small update. Did you make a little bit more progress on Sister and Shadow of Light? I'm now on page 156. This is definitely like a really, really fast-paced read. I'll say that. Like, I keep wanting to read more. We definitely are getting more point of views in this book, which I love, and I'm just really liking it. It's reminding me of the book Light Between Worlds that I read last year by Laura K. Waymount. That book had a lot of like sister dynamics and another world and elements of like historical setting. So it's kind of similar to that. But I'm really liking it. I'm loving there's definitely Narnia like elements in this story. And the character of Inara, her powers, and how she relates to other people really remind me of someone dealing with like being on the spectrum or something. I'm not sure that was like what the intention was, but her relationship to her other characters are super interesting. I'm really curious to see what this book's going to become, and I'm really cannot wait to keep reading. But I just wanted to come in and say one of my predictions did come true, which I'm really excited about. But yeah, it definitely does have elements of, Light Between Worlds or books like that. And definitely the historical fiction setting is one that I'm really enjoying, and I'm reading a lot of books like that recently. But yeah, definitely, and I definitely like to read more by this author in the future. I know she has a few other series out, but right now, definitely really enjoying this. And I'll update you guys with more as I keep reading. But yeah, talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. I just want to do a small update. It's about to be 11:30 on Monday, October 30th. No, September 30th. Sorry, not October 30th. No, too far. Wrong date. But I just want to do a small update and say I did get up to page 202 in Sisters of Shadow and Light, which was my goal. I might read a little bit more. It just depends on what YouTube video I find to watch as background noise. I will say, I normally have a lot of issues with reading back summaries of books because I feel like that they give so much away. This summary is not the case. I would really recommend that you actually read the summary because I think the summary did like a great job. I love how this book has changed so dramatically from the first part, and I think that that's the show of a good writer. She can really diversify her writing style and how many point of views you're getting in this book, and I think that that's super important. I still do say this book reminds me a lot of a Light Between Worlds, but the writing style is a lot more paced better, and I really enjoy the characters. I think the world is really interesting. It has Narnia vibes. This book has split now into two different points of views you're getting, so I'm really liking that. But yeah, I'm really liking this book. I think I'm gonna read a little bit more, and see how far I can get before I go to bed. But I'm really liking it. I think I'm really liking Anara's point of view. She's the character that you didn't get in the first half of the book. And she's the sister that had a hard time communicating but was one with magic. I'm really liking her character and I'm loving her story as well. I'm loving both stories, but that story just capturing me like a little bit more. But I'm really enjoying it. I love the focus on sister dynamics for both girls. I think it's a really unique story and I'm really liking it. So I'm going to keep reading and I will try to update you guys before I go to bed. It just depends on how much progress I make. If not, I'll definitely tell you all the stuff I read tonight tomorrow. Yeah, talk to you guys in a bit. It's Tuesday, October 1st, so happy October, guys. This is my last day off from school. Tomorrow I go back to work, and then I go to New York City Comic-Con. So I'm really excited about that, and I'm trying to finish my readathon strong. My goal is to definitely finish this book today, and I think that that's very, very doable. I am on page 216 of Sisters in Shadow and Light. I'm really liking this book. It definitely, I think I said this like before in this video, but it definitely reminds me of that book, A Light Between Worlds. Like, definitely does. It also has elements of how Grace and Fury was structured, like the start of it, which I'm really enjoying. I just really like this author's like writing style. I think it's very, very captivating. I like the characters. I love the dual settings that we're getting. I love how the cast of characters has expanded. I know at the start I said I really did like that it had a small cast, but I'm liking that the characters had expanded and her writing style has changed throughout this novel. I'm really impressed. So I'm going to go to my yoga class, come back, go for a bike ride, and then I'll check back in. And then I'm going to choose what I'm going to read next. That's a hard question because I don't know if I want to pick a book that I'm just going to read at Comic-Con or if I'm going to pick a book that I'm going to read before Comic-Con because I still have a day. I have to think about that. But when I come back from yoga, I'll definitely check back in. Talk to you guys in a little bit. Bye. Just checking back in. I did actually wind up finishing Captive, A Mother's Crusade to Save Her Daughter from a Terrifying Cult. Yes, that is the full title. It was actually really interesting. I learned a lot more about that family, and I'm really intrigued. I heard a small rumor that we might get a book from India's perspective, which was the actual person in the cult. I would love that. I mean, not love that, but I would really be intrigued to see her story. But yeah, it was just a very, very captivating read, and she read it, and I just really liked her as a narrator. I did make a little bit more progress on Sisters of Shadow and Light by Sarah B. Larson. I'm now on page 254. I am going out to see a friend. My goal is to finish this book tonight, so that's my goal. I really am liking it. I'm loving the dual characters that we're getting, and I'm really invested in both storylines. She's done a very good job of expanding her world slowly, but still appreciating the story. I'm really enjoying it, and I can't wait to read more. So I'm going to go see a friend, give her some books that I got from my former conventions, read this, and check back in when I come home. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. I'm just back. I just wanted to do a small update. I did wind up going to have lunch with a friend, and we ventured a little bit, and we ate, and I caught up with her, which is really, really nice. And I did make a little bit more progress on Sisters of Shadow and Light. I'm now on page 292. I'm going to dive back into this read and hopefully wind up finishing tonight. I'm really liking it. I'm loving the dual storylines that we're getting. I'm loving how we're getting more information about this world and these characters and the magic system. I'm really enjoying it. I'm definitely going to check out more by Sarah B. Larson in the future, but so far, really enjoying it. And I have about 60 pages left, so definitely going to tackle the rest of this tonight and let you guys know what I'm reading next. I'll talk to you guys in a little bit for another update. Bye. Right here, just checking back in. I have about 30 pages left in this book, so I'm definitely going to tackle it tonight. It's just a very, I would say the writing is very, very small, so it's a little bit more of, a denser read, and the end has, had a bunch of different timelines or time places that they're in, so you just have to remember who's where. But I'm really curious to see the end of it. I'm really liking this magic system in this world. I'm loving it. It's probably, the most unique magic system I've seen I've read in a while, and I really like it. I'm curious to read other books by Sarah B. Larson and see if I like that magic systems as well. But the dynamics between the sisters is something that I'm really enjoying, and yeah, I'm really liking this book a lot. But yeah, I'm gonna come back when I'm done because I should be able to finish it in the next hour. But yeah, talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. I'm gonna do a quick check-in. I did wind up finishing Sisters of Shadow and Light by Sarah B. Larson. I'm going to decompress for 10 minutes and just think about this book. But I really liked it. I'm not sure it's a 5-star read, but I think it's definitely a 4.5-star read. I really loved it. I loved how the magic system developed throughout the book. I like how the formatting and structure of this book did change. And I really love the characters. I love the focus on, sisterhood, and just the various worlds that we got in the characters. But I'm going to go, take a snack break, come back, talk a little bit more about this, and then choose my next read. It's only 7:15 about, so I still have a couple of hours in my readathon, but at the filming, when I completed this, If I don't count the audiobook that I finished reading this weekend, because I did finish reading it, I read about 463 pages with this and the 100 pages from Serpent and Dove that I started. So when I come back, I'll give you guys my finalized thoughts, and then I'm going to choose my next read. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Flurry here. I just wanted to do a quick check-in and say that I really did like this book, Sisters of Shadow and Light. I thought it was such a unique premise, and I really found the book to be a compelling, fast-paced read. I really like the dual point of views that were present in this book. I loved the entire cast of characters. I really liked it. The only thing I wish is that the ending was fleshed out a little bit more and it wasn't as rushed. But other than that, I thought it was a really solid read. I'll definitely be reading more by this author in the future. I would give it 4.5, I think. I felt like the last part of the book focused a lot on one character. And I wish we would have seen the other point of view a little bit more, because I think that was the point of view that I was missing a little bit of like key information. I really hope we get a second book because I need to know what happens to these characters. But these characters have definitely made a really big impression on me. So right now I would say I would give it like a 4.5 stars. And I would definitely read the second book in the series. And I would definitely read other books by this author. If you like books like The Light Between Worlds or, Narnia, or books that have a world that you escape to, or books about like strong female characters like Grace and Fury, it had elements of that too. I really liked it. I thought it was a solid read and I really, really enjoyed it. This would be a great book to read around like the winter season because it's set in like a haunted mansion basically, or a mansion. I thought the world building was very, very effective too. So now I'm gonna go choose my next read, and when I come back, I'll let you know what it is. Talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Here, so I did actually wind up choosing my next 2 reads. The reason I'm saying next 2 reads is because I am gonna start Two Dark Reigns by Kendir Blake. This is the 3rd book in her 3 Dark Crown series. It's been a while since I read this series, so I'm gonna see if I can get into it. So I'm definitely gonna read this tonight to end my readathon, and I'm definitely gonna read it tomorrow, like commuting back and forth. And then I'm probably going to bring this book to the city when I'm online for New York City Comic Con, which is called Time Sight by Lynn Joel, and it is a I think it's a time travel novel. I don't know much about it, but I'll talk a little bit more about it when I start reading it. But when I go to New York City Comic Con, I tend to read like books that are a little bit more not as high fantasy. So I do want to start this. This is high on my list because the final book in this series did come out. And I do actually need to read the e-novellas. So I think after I read this, I'm probably going to try to read the e-novellas. But yeah, so that's my thoughts. That's my plans. Right now. This is the 3rd book in that series. Again, it's been a while since I actually read this series, so I'm curious to see if I can float back into it. I might see if I could find like a recaption about book 2, just so I have a little bit of like clarifying points. But this is the book that I will read when I go to Comic-Con for that day. It's actually a really, really short read. Castle's battles in the ancient Scottish Highlands, a boy who's determined to bring everyone safely home, combined in an absorbing time travel adventure. But yeah, so this is actually a very, very short read. So I'm hopeful that I can make I hope I can finish this during Comic-Con. So yeah, I'm going to go look up a quick summary of the 1st book just so I can like get my head in line, and then I'm going to start reading. And if I feel like I should not be reading this, I will check back in. But I hope that I can because I really wanted to make some progress on this series. So I'll talk to you guys in a little bit to know you guys my progress and what I have decided to read, because right now I'm really torn between these 2. So we will see. Small check-in. I actually found out that I should be reading Queens of Fenburn before I should read Two Dark Reigns. So I'm definitely going to try to tackle this. I'm just started and I'm like 17 pages into it. The first story is called The Young Queens, and I think it follows the young queens when they're younger, and then the Oracle Queen. So I'm going to read this, see how far I can get, and then hopefully maybe I'll just read this until tomorrow. So I don't know. I'm going to see how long it takes me, honestly, to finish it, but I don't think I'll finish this tonight. This is like 232 pages. I doubt it. But I do want to read things in chronological order so I'm not confused. And it's been a while since I read Two Dark Crowns or One Dark Reign, One Dark Throne. So probably good I get a refresher course. And I heard that this is key information. So before I head to bed, I'll definitely check back in. Or if I finish, I'll check in when I finish the first story or when I hit 10 o'clock because that will be the readathon's over. But talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. Here, I just wanted to come here and end this part of the reading vlog. I did actually wind up reading, with everything, I wound up reading 531 pages from Sunday night to Tuesday night. I did wind up reading 63 pages of The Queens of Fenburn. I'm really liking the story, the young queens. It's really interesting being back in this world. I've always liked this series, always. And this is just a nice background. You see the queens as young kids. And I'm sure this stuff will impact Two Dark Reigns, which I'm going to read next. I really hope to finish this tomorrow when I'm on the train. I'm definitely going to come in and finish this reading log officially tomorrow night when I come home. Because New York City Comic Con starts the next day, and I definitely won't be filming until like next week. But I just want to say that I am enjoying this, and it's nice to be back in the world. I'm happy that I did start to read this one first before Two Dark Reigns. But I do have that in my backpack. But yeah, I actually had a really fun time. This reading vlog did not go originally as planned because I had planned to start my reading vlog much earlier. But I lost all that footage. But you know what? It actually turned out to be a really, really solid reading vlog. And I will come on tomorrow, let you guys know how my mini adventure went with my friend Sarah, how much reading I got done, and how I'm getting ready for New York City Comic Con. But I'll talk to you guys tomorrow for another update. And I hope you guys had a great weekend yourselves. Let me know in the comments of this video how many pages you read this weekend. I was very impressed with my 531 page mark or whatever I said that I wound up reading. But I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. I'm here to probably wrap up this reading vlog. If I can remember, I'll do an update each night and talk a little bit about New York City Comic Con. Just depends on what time I get home and how exhausted I am. But I did wind up finishing Queens of Fenburn by Kendra Blake. This is the lineup of the 2 novellas that are set in the world that I was recommended to read before I started book 3. I will admit, I definitely liked the first story better than the second story, which was the Young Queens. I like the Oracle Queen. It just wasn't my favorite. I'm sure that information will be very imperative as I get towards the end of the series. But I really did like the Young Queens because that was focused on the characters that we know and love. I'm super excited to dive into Two Dark Reigns after Comic-Con, but I thought this was a very interesting read. Definitely enjoyed it. I really did love the Young Queens. I thought that was a very solid story that I really liked. Oracle Queen was okay. The pacing was a little bit weird, and I always struggle with stories that I know the end to, or stories that I know the end to, like example Fairest or Heartless, because you grow so invested in these characters and then XYZ happens. There was a nice twist at the end of the Oracle Queen, which makes me think I'd probably reread it at some point, but it was okay. Overall, I would give the collection 3 stars, but definitely very important reading material. So I'm going to go start Time Site. I'm probably not going to update before I go to bed, but I will definitely speak to you guys probably tomorrow when I come back from Comic-Con. So talk to you guys in a bit. Bye. This is Lori here. I am back from New York City Comic-Con, and I just want to officially end this reading vlog because I did want to chat about the books that I wound up finishing during Comic-Con or like directly after Comic-Con, and they kind of went with this video, so I felt like just wanting to start a new reading vlog. But I did wind up finishing Time Site by Lynn Joel. I actually did enjoy this book. I don't think it was my favorite middle grade, but it basically follows these 2 characters, Will and his brother. Will and Jamie. Their mother winds up having a problem, and their dad has to go find her. So they wind up being sent to stay with relatives in Scotland. And when they go to Scotland, they wind up living in this, old castle. And they wind up having the ability to travel through time. So they go through all these different time periods. and they're trying to solve mysteries but also save their fellow relatives. I really did enjoy it. I love the connection between the brothers. I thought the setting was spectacular. I thought the way that they like crafted time travel was really interesting, but I sometimes got a little bit confused about the overall plot and what world we were in or what time period we were in. The end was a little bit too technical for my liking, but I did enjoy it, and I would definitely read more by this author in the future. I know she has a lot of like younger middle grade. This is definitely a higher middle grade, but overall I enjoyed it, and I wound up giving this one 3 stars. Book the first day, I think, or the second day of New York City Comic Con, and then because I needed something quick that I was able to read online, I picked up Josh and Hazel's Guide to Dating by Christina Lauren. I actually wound up getting this last year at New York City Comic Con with my friend Sarah. And I will admit, I am struggling to rate this book, and I even did say it on Goodreads. If you would have asked me probably about here in this book, I would have said it was great. It was a solid 4-star read. Basically, what it is, it's about these two characters, Hazel and Josh. They had a relationship previously, or they knew each other previously. And Hazel kind of like was kind of a weird character, I'll say. Like, she's kind of quirky, and she made some decisions that just kind of threw Josh off. But when they reconnect, like so many years later, they wound up becoming best friends and maybe something more. I really love them as characters. I really love the dual point of view that we got. I love the dynamics between them. I love their characters' families, and I really love the structure of it. I was really impressed with the dual point of view. I love their banter. I thought this book was so funny. But the end of it really ruined the book for me, I think, and I struggled to rate it. So if you would have asked me like the first half and about the plot and the structure and the relationship and just the characters, I would have given this book 4 stars. But the end of this book and what happened really ruined it, and I gave that part 2 stars. So it's probably like a 2-star read for the end. But overall, I would say it's probably like a 3-star read. I just struggled with the end. There were some choices that were made that I wasn't that fond of, but I did feel more connected to these characters. So that's my thought on Josh and Hazel's Guide to Dating. And then just right now, and the tail end of BookCon, I wound up reading Roomies by Christina Lauren. This book, I love the setting. It basically follows this girl named Holland, and she winds up secretly having a crush on this guy who winds up playing in the New York subway. And then something happens, their paths wind up crossing, and they wind up meeting. And then it's revealed that he's really a good musician because he's busking in the subway. Holland's brother is the creator of the best show on Broadway, and they're in desperate need of a new guitarist for their show. Holland recommends him because she knows how talented he is. There's just one slight problem. Calvin is not a U.S. citizen because he is here on an expired visa. The only way that he can accept this amazing job is if he marries Holland. I didn't like this book. Well, the book was okay. I struggle with the book because it wasn't a dual point of view, and I say this even in my YAs. I love when books are like dual point of view because I feel like I become so much more invested in those characters if I have it. And I just wasn't as connected in these characters. But I really did love the world. I thought that it was like a solid understanding of theater and like backstage life in a Broadway musical. I thought that was really interesting. I love the characters in this. I just didn't feel as connected to them as I wanted to. And I think that was part of the problem. And towards the end, I just thought the ending was like a little bit rushed, and I didn't love the ending again. So I don't know. I guess I would probably prefer this one over this one because I always want characters to be the highlight. But I did enjoy them, and I will definitely read more by this author in the future. So that's all the books that I want to finishing the tail end of New York City Comic Con. And in my next reading vlog, I'll talk about the books I'm diving into after New York City Comic Con. So let me know in the comments what books you have been enjoying recently, and I'll talk to you guys later for another update. Bye. Or another reading vlog. Bye.